record button, so I'm doing that now. This session is being recorded. And for those who are attending, there is going to be an opportunity for sketches. I'll give you a code at the end. So some session norms. If you haven't done so, it should by default have you mute your microphone. But please, please, please ask lots of questions. Raise your hand, use the chat. However you want to do it later, there's going to be a chance for some out loud talking where you can unmute yourself in a breakout room. First time we're going to do breakout rooms, so I'm excited about that. But in short, please be an active participant. I recognize for some of you, your roles, it doesn't allow you to, just because you have students coming in and out or whatever, but for as much as you possibly can, be an active participant. If possible, my ask is to keep your screen on when possible. We have a lot of key speakers, their faces will be shown, yours should not be shown, but when your screen is on, they can see you. And I think it helps guests be able to engage even more when they see other people's faces. And if you haven't done so, please try to rename yourself to whatever name you registered under. There are sometimes people have like DB, and that's it. And I don't know who DB is. So if you are able to put a first name and last name, then I can try to track to make sure I give you credit for attendance and sketches. So, and I'm trying to go through that quickly because I want to give as much time as possible to our guests. With us, we have, I want to say like 7 or 8 people. Today's guest is Hope Network, and I want to introduce Holly Windrum from Hope Network. She's the executive director of Michigan Education Corps. And we have several of her team on, and I'm just going to quickly just name names, and I hope I get them right. And then from that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Holly. And I don't know why I do this, because you could probably do a better job, but I think it's like a test for myself that I was paying attention to. Megan Zambiasi, Anita Mitchell, Megan Pena, Mark Anderson, Maggie Moore. She has Margaret up there, but she goes by Maggie. Crystal Houston, Sonia, I'm not sure if she made it on yet, but she may be attending. Caleb will be here for the breakouts later, or the panel discussion, and then Whitney Townsend. So thank you to that large group of people. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you, Holly.
Well, thank you and good morning. I have posted in the chat probably a number of times that you have a link to a Google Drive folder that has handouts. So if anybody needs me to repost that again, happy to do that as often as necessary. I'm going to do a quick screen share. In that Google Drive folder is an agenda for our time together. So we're gonna go ahead and get going, but this at least gives you an idea of how we're gonna spend our time. We'll have some really, I'm so excited to have just some amazing members of our Hope Network team here today to talk about some of the, frankly, amazing services that Hope Network has. And then we'll do a panel discussion where we'll have some Q&A, and then we'll go into breakout rooms, and that will give you, our participants, an opportunity to potentially interact with one of the panelists from Hope Network, but also just to do some reflection. We don't often get enough time in our busy days to just kind of pause and go, okay, what am I going to do with this all this great information I just heard? So we'll have that opportunity, and then we'll wrap up. So that's what we're looking at for about the next hour and 7 minutes. So I am going to stop share, and it is my pleasure to turn over to Megan. Megan?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Yeah, nice to meet all of you virtually. So I'm Megan Zambiasi. I'm the Senior VP of Operations and Strategy for Hope. And what I'm going to do here is just lead you through a PowerPoint. One of the things that people often say about Hope Network is they don't realize how big and broad we are. And I think that is indeed true. We do a lot of different things all across the state. So this is just a good way to give you a little bit in a nutshell. And I believe Holly included this, this video for you, actually. So you have it as a resource if you ever have a student or whatnot that you'd like to show it to. Feel free to do that. So I'm going to share my screen here. And hopefully everybody can see it in a second here. All right. Holly, all right, good. Holly's giving me the thumbs up here. So I'll lead you through it here. There's also a video link that I'm hoping will work, but really our mission statement, let's see, there we go. This is our mission statement, which is that we help to empower people to overcome challenges and achieve their highest level of independence. So part of this is our roots. We started out as a company about 50 some years ago, 50, 60 years ago, actually, we were all about people with disabilities. And we still, we do a lot of work with people with disabilities. We also do a lot of work with folks who have mental illness, behavioral health disorders, substance use disorders, the whole gamut, which you'll see in a few minutes here. So overcoming, we talk a lot about overcoming in our parlance, and overcoming is different for everybody. So all of us have challenges, of course, you and I and all the people that we serve in various roles. So these just give you a couple of places where we tend to do this. This person, actually, that you're seeing, kind of joyfully tossing around the ball, this is somebody who's receiving services in a neuro rehab facility. So someone who's encountered a serious car accident, for instance, and is working on that challenge. So the next here, I just really love this video. So I'm going to show this too, because it gives you like a quick minute or two and tells you all about us here. So I'm going to get that started.
You may have to adjust the audio on your end.
Okay.
On the bottom right.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll work. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Under more, there should be something that says allowing you to use the screen audio.
Okay, let's see. Under more.
On the bottom of the screen here, not your PowerPoint, but under the Zoom session.
The settings, maybe.
Yeah, the settings, and then no, sorry, not on the Zoom. Not on the video.
Oh, okay. I've got it all collapsed here. So
yeah, under there, it should be under more, and it said something about video playback sound.
Okay.
Bottom right.
Yeah, it's like trying to get this. This is where, let's see, resize the screen. See if I can get it to come up here. My apologies. This is where you can tell I'm not an educator.
It's okay.
If Eric, do you want to show it from?
I was just going to say.
Yeah, if you could, that might be easier if you could.
Yeah,
Would you mind?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a quick video, and it actually does do a really nice job.
Yeah, give me just a second from the resources you gave to me.
Okay.
I thought I had them up.
I'll go ahead and stop my screen sharing then.
Sorry, everybody.
That's all right. Sorry about that glitch.
All right, here it is. I thought I had it open. And which one was it? Which, the Hope Network All in a Day?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I can do that. Let me get it open here. And I will do a screen share. Sorry, and then where is it? Audio. Share sound. There we go. Okay, hold on. Let's see if we can play.
The time is 6:59 a.m. A mom in Grand Rapids sits in the parking lot of a building where her child with autism is about to have another therapy session. The same building where some families are beginning their journey, and others have seen their child take incredible strides from being nonverbal to saying,
"Good morning."
Not far away, a man who served his time is about to start his shift, all thanks to a program that gave him a chance at work when others refused. He has 2 beautiful grandkids he's determined not to let down. Almost as determined as a man in Lansing who was in a car crash that didn't take his life, but did take his coordination and strength, which is motivating his epic, audacious comeback. It's 1:30 p.m. now in Detroit, and a 3rd grade student is sounding out the word
Proficient.
which is what she's become thanks to an interventionist who refuses to let this little girl become another statistic. Outside, there's a bus that's part of a whole transportation fleet. A woman steps on board and heads to a group outing that she's been looking forward to for days. The group is her connection to community, where she's celebrated for what she can do, not judged for what she can't. It's now 6 p.m. in northern Michigan. A man picks up the phone. He climbed to the top of the corporate world, but addiction dropped him to rock bottom. He utters 4 words that mark the beginning of an incredible turnaround.
I need some help.
Downstate, a family moves into a new housing unit that's giving them hope that for the first time in a long time, things just might turn out okay. Just like they did for the girl who faced debilitating depression and anxiety, who wondered if life was worth it, and now wonders how she can help other teens in the same position she once was. At the same time, up Highway 69 in Flint, a family being counseled through the hardest stage of grief finally sees the light. While the man who absolutely could not get a reliable and affordable ride to work punches in for his twilight shift. The day is winding down, and so is a marathon relay back in Grand Rapids that's raising funds for these amazing people all across Michigan. And to think, that's just an ordinary Friday at Hope Network.
Awesome. Hope everybody was able to hear that. Good. Fantastic. All right, back to you.
All right, thank you. Okay, well, I appreciate that. I'm going to share my screen again here. There you go. All right, so hopefully everybody can see that. So as an overview, I mean, obviously we're all over the state. So this just gives you like some little pin dots about all the different places that we're located. I will tell you that honestly, we add more things nearly every week. So, so these things do change, but the clusters certainly are correct. As you can see, we're Lower Peninsula, we've got covered, especially along that I-96 corridor. We even have a few spots up in the UP and would love to have more. Our services, again, you kind of saw the general pieces of that from our presentation, but you know, we're known for particularly our work in brain and spinal cord injuries, our work in mental illness and substance use disorders, developmental disabilities, autism, prisoner reentry, and elementary reading and math tutoring, which you know, Holly's area there, and childhood trauma work. So this is just a picture of one of our centers for autism. We have 5 of them actually. And our latest one is in the Livonia area. We just opened that up recently, but this is our main one in Kentwood, Michigan, so outside of Grand Rapids. And this, we do all sorts of good things. Maggie will talk a little bit about that when she talks as well, but we do the neuropsychological and psychological evaluations. We do applied behavioral analysis. We have therapy available in social skills groups. We also do some in-home services. Behavioral health, our list is pretty long here, so I won't read all these off, but you'll notice a lot of things here are, you know, kind of meant to span the variety of needs that people might have. We work very closely in conjunction with community mental health authorities. So if you have a local community mental health authority, the chances are pretty good that they know who Hope Network is, and we've done some work with some of their folks. But we also do some commercial insurance work as well, particularly on the east side of the state. We tend to do quite a bit over there. One of our newer service lines is addiction. So we have a brand new facility that just opened up in Grand Rapids that is a detox and residential facility for adults experiencing addiction problems. We do medication-assisted therapies as well as psychotherapy and counseling and all those other good things. So this just gives an overview of all the different things that we provide in our Center for Recovery. Our main centers are in Grand Rapids. We do have 2 locations up north in Traverse City and Petoskey as well. The brain and spinal cord injury piece, I've mentioned that a few times. We call this neurorehabilitation, and we have lovely facilities actually all over Michigan. And we do a lot of the post-hospital transition pieces. So if you have ever known anybody who was in a serious car accident and then they needed to transition into other kinds of care, Hope Network very well may have been the kind of place that they would go to. We have full professional staff in these locations, and we really provide comprehensive rehabilitation for people. It's pretty amazing to see the work that they can do. We also have these other things. We like to call this group the social determinants. So all the things, and certainly as educators, you're very familiar with these things. These are the things that actually get people in spots where they're struggling. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a comprehensive way to reach people, because we know that we can help you with your specific behavioral health need, problem, or we can help you with your neurorehabilitation problem. But if some of these things are barriers for you, then your life is harder and you're less likely to really recover or be well. So transportation is something that we're known for, those buses. If you're in the Grand Rapids area in particular, you've probably seen those all over. So we have all sorts of transportation options. Housing is a really interesting one. We continue to grow that footprint across the state and providing low-income housing for people. And we're very interested in kind of clustering those in places where we can also be close to some of these social determinant services to be able to provide really more comprehensive options for people. Workforce development is another one that I'll talk about in a few minutes that really is interesting. This helps people who maybe are citizens who are reentering the workforce, say from after incarceration, or who have other barriers, perhaps people who are refugees who maybe normally wouldn't have an easy path to employment. We have places to help train them and get them started on their journey. There's some really remarkable stories out of there. We also have all sorts of other things that supported independent living options, and obviously the MEC, the reading and math tutoring that we do in many of the school systems. So this is Holly's slide, and every time I show this, Holly, I think you tell me that this is actually, we've got more light blue than this one even shows. But obviously, we are doing a lot to help with literacy in Michigan. We're really proud of this. This is a great way to get in and intervene early with kids, especially, and help them as they grow. Transportation, there's just a little picture of our bus. And obviously during COVID, that's been a little harder, but we're beginning to have our ridership increase again, which has been great. But this is the transportation services are really wonderful, especially for people who need to get back and forth from day services or from jobs or other kinds of things. And here's just a good example of some of the housing that we have available for people. We have apartment properties. We also have other kinds of properties that are available for people. Workforce development, as I mentioned, we have a wide variety to meet people where they're at. So all sorts of different things. This picture, actually, this lovely gentleman works in my office building, and I get to see him every day. And he leads the team, actually, that helps to provide the janitorial services for us, and lots of TLC too. But we really enjoy having these folks in our areas, and also getting them into other industries and places where they can succeed. And that's it, just to wrap that up. Thanks so much.
Megan, there is one question in the chat.
Sure.
Are you connected with a particular hospital or group for the addiction services?
We're not, we are independent, so we are not connected with a particular hospital. We do have the detox and rehab, detox is a level lower than an emergency department. So we typically would get referrals directly from an emergency department if people come in and are having difficulty, or their primary care practices. But we don't have any specific hospital affiliation. We're kind of Switzerland at this point. All right. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate all of you being here. And I have to hop off, so my apologies, but the rest of this team is going to take it from here, and you're going to hear some great stories. Thanks so much.
Thank you. All right. At this time, it is a pleasure for me to introduce Ms. Anita Mitchell. She is our Senior HR Business Director, but she has a pretty incredible story to tell. So I'm just going to turn it over to her, let her do the talking. Anita, are you there?
I am, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time and participating in this. I'm really excited to not only talk about the services that Hope Network provides, but also talk about my journey with Hope Network. So I work on the east side of the state, as Megan indicated. We are all over the state, but I happen to work on the east side, and our main focus on this side are the behavioral health and child and family services service lines, where we provide an array of services in that area under the behavioral health umbrella, which includes the outpatient therapy, autism services, residential services for those who have mental health challenges, as well as the intellectual and developmental, those who have those challenges as well. So in my journey with Hope Network, technically I've been here since March, but prior to that, I worked here for 11 years. And I started as a case manager. We had an outpatient clinic in Warren, Michigan. And so that clinic closed, and I was able to transition to a program we had at the time called Portable Supports, where we work with individuals who established themselves and achieved goals and were able to live independently with support. And from that, I was able to move into residential, where I learned a lot from the team that I work with. And we work with those individuals who were identified as needing a more secure but not locked level of care in a residential community. And we provided those services, including medication, transportation, and just helping them rehabilitate in the community. And then from there, I was able to continue on that track and take advantage of the educational opportunities that Hope Network offers. Not only do we have our university, which offers an array of courses throughout the year to support continued education and growth, but we also have a tuition program which I took advantage of, which I was able to obtain my master's degree in my tenure with Hope Network. And then I briefly transitioned to another organization. But when I got the opportunity to come back, I took full advantage of it. And now I'm working in the seat in HR and senior HR. So I would say that working with Hope Network has not only allowed me to pursue my career in helping people and move forward the mission of Hope Network, but also be able to diversify my skills and be able to move around in the organization to identify different services, to be able to provide services, and to be able to lead teams that continue to help those in the community that need that type of assistance. So it has been a great advantage for me. We love to promote Hope Network and the mission and the vision, and just bring those in who would want to provide those type of services. And I think the greatest thing about Hope, if there's someone that may not know what track they want to be on in terms of their career pathing, it is very clear that being able to work with Hope Network, you may be able to identify several different tracks you may want to participate in. So it has been a great advantage for me. I have greatly enjoyed my coworkers and colleagues, have been able to learn a lot with the leaders that I have worked with, specifically Jamie Bragg Lovejoy, who was my executive director on the East Side, as well as our previous business director, Lisa Ostrowski, and just be able to learn and grow and be able to provide and support great services for those who have challenges, or for families who have a hard time navigating the system, or for those who just need a little support. So I'm grateful for my journey, and I'm grateful to be able to share this story with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anita. I will pause here to see if there are any questions from our participants. I'm just using my wait time, folks.
Something I struggle with, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Anita, may I ask you one quick question?
Sure, ma'am.
So you said, you were at Hope Network and it really advanced your learning and your career. What made you come back?
Honestly, one of my coworkers, because I adore the people that I work with over the years, and just the opportunities that were afforded to me and can be afforded. And as Megan indicated, we are constantly growing, so there are constant opportunities to be able to identify different career paths, identify different services, to be on the forefront of service development. Because when she says we're expanding, well, these programs have to have people that develop them. So those of us in these seats are a part of that development process to see what works, what doesn't work, to bring in people who we believe would be able to do the job well. So coming back was just, it was a no-brainer for me. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I hear you talking about, and this is an underlying theme I hear a lot at Hope Network, the team. It's the people. It's the people I work with. It's the people I serve. It's about the people. So thank you very much for that. Question, and this, I'm going to open this up. Maybe this is a Whitney question, although I don't want to put Whitney totally on the spot, but how comprehensive is the tuition help?
The tuition reimbursement?
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, you know, if you're going for something as it relates to a field that Hope Network works in or provides services in, then you would be covered under that reimbursement for your education. So.
Is the entire tuition covered? Is it partial?
No, it's about $2,000 per the year, and as long as you've been here for a year of service, 12 months, then you'd be qualified for that.
All right, seeing no other questions, I'm going to keep things moving along, and I would like to introduce Megan and Mark. Megan and Mark, take it away.
Hey everyone, can everyone hear me? Good. Okay, so my name is Mark Anderson, and I work for the behavioral health service line for Hope Network, and I've been here for about 15 years. I think my story is somewhat similar to Anita, where I started working out in some of our group homes and our programs, and then took on a variety of different roles and have had the opportunity to experience, managing a team of people, doing clinical work one-on-one with individuals, and now my role right now is director of admissions. So I oversee any referrals that we have coming in to our specialized residential programs. And our specialized residential programs are pretty unique. We have programs that are all over the state, and these programs serve individuals with very severe mental illness, and individuals who have really struggled to be able to function on their own out in the community and really need a variety of wraparound supports in order to be successful. And so our goal is to help those people be able to be more independent and not need to live in a program like ours. And whenever we have somebody successfully graduate from the program, I always tell them, like, I hope I see you again, but not here, out at a Tigers game or out at the store, or out you doing your own thing. I want to see you out in the community being successful. And so that's always kind of the way that I viewed it is helping people just kind of get through this step in their life. And I think for a lot of us, we're teachers. We help to educate people, help people to build skills, learn how to function better and be successful when they're out in the community. So we have kind of a lot of different specialties that we do in our programs. I think Crystal's on, and she works at our home that deals with people who have more medical or physical care needs. Megan and I primarily have worked in programs that are sort of the higher intensity behavioral, and we have individuals who have committed crimes, have been found not guilty by reason of insanity for some pretty significant crimes. And so we jump in to help those people, just like anybody else, and help them kind of recover and get back and get back to being normal, kind of functioning members of society. So one of the things we had talked about before the meeting was just what kind of skills you need for this kind of work. And I think the biggest thing is patience. You have to be patient with people. Sometimes it takes a long time to really get through to somebody. You've got to have empathy. You've got to have really good communication skills. You've got to be able to talk to people and build relationships. The foundation of what we do, I think, across the board at Hope Network is building relationships with people. And it doesn't work unless you are able to talk to people, get to know people, and really legitimately care about, the outcomes that people have. One other skill that I would say that's very specific is called motivational interviewing. You can look this up on YouTube. I think there's lots of videos out there, but out of all the trainings that I've had through Hope Network, that's one thing that I feel like has really helped me, and I think it could go a long way just in day-to-day life. I think it's something that could be beneficial for teachers, just on how you talk to people, how you approach to people. It's all about validating people's concerns and their problems and their reactions to the problems, and then just working in a way that helps them, you know, get to solutions on their own without sort of jumping in and solving the problem for them. So that's what I have, Megan. I think you probably have a few other things to add to the conversation.
Yeah, you know, I know Mark and I's style is really to be able to have conversations with people. So I hope if there's any questions or if something's not clear or something catches your interest, you type it in, because we definitely like to be interactive. I've been here at Hope Network now for 13 years. I am the clinical director for our behavioral health service line. I planned to only be here for one. Previously, I'd worked in, you know, correctional settings, juvenile justice. And again, I was going to come here and I was going to go back to prison. And, you know, what's kept me here, I've served in a variety of roles at Hope, is really, like Mark said, the relationships that we build with people. But the opportunity to make a difference in the system. We've seen a lot of people move through the system from, you know, the Center for Forensic Psychiatry, Department of Corrections, state hospitals. Pretty much anyone who's in our care right now has come through those primary places. And we do a lot of advocacy. So people are referred to us and, you know, they've a lot of times done terrible things, or they look terrible on paper. And we have the opportunity to see them when they're well and they're safe and they're heard and their teeth no longer hurt and they have their medications, and we're able to advocate for them and to help them, you know, move through the system in a way that they probably wouldn't otherwise. And so I think that that's really motivating to any of us who choose to stay around.
So what are some of the, you know, Mark, and certainly Mark, jump in too, so it doesn't have to be just for Megan, but what are some of the, if students were interested in kind of getting into working with these, I'll call it special populations of individuals, what are some of the, and we talked about motivational interviewing, relationship building, what are some of the other, maybe even just coursework, knowledge kinds of things that students might be thinking about?
Yeah, you know, people come to us from different pathways. A lot of times it'll be some sort of, you know, social services, human services background. We've had folks come through criminal justice. I got to tell you, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was getting my bachelor's degree, and I, you know, found my way later on and got my master's degree, and I was only going to work with kids. I know I work with, you know, with adults too. Gosh, you know, I think that there's a lot of pathways. It's I would think right now, if folks have an interest in social justice issues, I would hope that this would be work that's interesting to them. We're able to really directly interact with the system and very oppressive systems that have led people to require our care. And so I think that there's a lot of different motivations for that. I think, I don't know, Mark, what are your thoughts on how it's that?
You know, I'm similar, and you know, I went to school and was studying psychology, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I didn't really have a lot of experience when I started here, and so I kind of just got, you know, dumped right in. And you know, you can learn, I think, on paper, you know, about schizophrenia and bipolar and all of that, but until you actually meet somebody and see how it affects them, and see how it affects them over periods of months and years, and how it kind of ebbs and flows. You know, I think for me, that was probably the most valuable experience that I had, was just starting right on the floor and getting to know people and meeting people. So, you know, I think learning about mental illness and I think all that can be helpful. And I think more how mental illness affects people day to day. You know, you can learn all about the symptoms, but I think it's learning about, you know, the sometimes the dramatic effects that it has on people's lives that really helps to motivate people wanting to get into this field and wanting to help people out.
I did it. It happens at least once during any Zoom meeting where you start talking and you're on mute. So I'm going to go with this questions first. Megan and Mark, are your clients' patients referred to you, assigned to you by the court system? How do you get clients?
So the majority of the people referred to us are referred through the community mental health system. And we contract with, every single county in the state of Michigan. Primarily, everyone is referred through CMH, and that can be through the pathway of the state hospital, through the pathway of, they're somewhere in the community right now and they need a higher level of care, or they're in the Center for Forensic Psychiatry and they're ready to leave. We do also have referrals coming out of the Department of Corrections. Sometimes community mental health is already involved and sometimes they're not. So, but primarily for our folks, that is CMH, the Medicaid population.
Thank you. All right, question. I assume it's appropriate majors for a BA would be sociology, psychology, what others? Criminal justice, what other kinds of majors?
Social work, like you said, sociology, social work. We've got folks who they want to work in the medical field, and this is kind of their pathway to get there. We've had folks who had, a different career and they were just like, gosh, I'm tired of working, in a factory and I want to have more direct connections with humans. And those are some of the best people we've ever had. We can have folks that have, multiple degrees, but if they don't have a drive to see humans for who they truly are and connect with them, then all of that doesn't really matter. And so I really think, people are motivated by connecting with people and advocating for people, to be treated right and to be served right and to not be dismissed by all of our systems, then I think there's so many pathways and there's so many different motivations, and I don't think it's limited at all.
Yeah, and we employ psychiatrists, RNs, LPNs, social workers, therapists. We just a wide variety, occupational therapists, behavior analysts. There's a wide variety of professional service lines that really go into, creating these wraparound services to really truly help somebody. So there's a wide variety within our systems.
I think one of the best training experiences anyone can ever have is to be a direct care staff. I was a direct care staff in a child caring institution while I was getting my master's degree. There's no better training than getting in there and doing the work and connecting with people and getting in all of the mess. And so again, we see some people want to do this forever, and we see other people, this is just part of their pathway. But what you learn by working with people in these settings and people who are struggling and who are at different points in their journey, I think that's just really invaluable.
If I can just hop in on that. Is there an echo? Or are we good? Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I just provided a link to the group here. It's to our direct care site, and it really provides a high level and a little bit in-depth overview of what our direct care professionals do at Hope Network, and then just really the scope of the work. So they touch on teaching, nursing, occupational therapy, counseling, personal training, dietetics, all of that. So they get that exposure to working with those professionals that already have those degrees, and they can see, maybe I want to go this direction or that direction. So take a peek at that site. It really provides the good value of what our direct care professionals do here at Hope, and then kind of the experience that they would receive. So
Whitney, would you mind reading that out? Just, I don't know that everybody, if they end up watching it on demand, will see that in the chat. I don't think that shows. So that at least if you read it out, then they can, with those who are interested, if they're watching this later, they could go back and check it themselves.
Yep, it's just hopenetwork.org/careers. That's the easiest way. And then you can click on the link just at the header that says explore direct care.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
And I am not ignoring your question, Eric. I am just jumping ahead.
Oh, no, that's all right. You can go ahead and feel free to move along. I was just
Okay, well, yeah, maybe we'll open the panel up with it. So I do not want to leave out one of our services that we are so proud of, which is our Center for Autism Services. And so Maggie, may I turn it over to you?
Sure. So I am Maggie Moore, and I am the Clinical Director of Hope Network Center for Autism. I have had many jobs over the years, and really my life actually started being a direct support professional at another organization very similar to Hope Network. It took me a little bit longer to find Hope Network, and I'm really glad I did, and I'm really glad to be a part of Hope Network Center for Autism and have an impact on the development of the program that we have here. I've had most of the different jobs that are within the Center for Autism at some point in my career. And so one of my first jobs out of being a direct support professional, I moved into what we would call at the Center for Autism, a behavior technician. And so at Hope Network Center for Autism, we have behavior technicians that work directly with children diagnosed with autism, and they provide individualized treatment designed by a board certified behavior analyst and under their supervision, and they implement this one-on-one therapy. And that was one of my first jobs after being a direct support professional. And you know, there are many jobs within the Center for Autism that don't require having an undergrad degree or a master's degree, but there are jobs that do require it. And so the behavior technician position, the minimum requirement is that they have a high school diploma and that they care and they're passionate and they're willing to learn. We do all of our training on site, and we, as opposed to some of the competitors that do behavior analysis and do ABA services, we do hands-on training. And so we teach classrooms, and we do behavior skills training where we are modeling. We first explain what we're going to do and why we're going to do it. And then we model what we expect of them. And then we give them opportunities to practice the skills, and we provide feedback and coaching, and we help shape up those individuals. And so our behavior technicians, some of them, decide to make a career of this. I've had behavior technicians that I've worked with in the past that they have done it their whole career until they retire because they love and care and are passionate about working with children. There are also, a portion of people that choose it as part of, while they're working through their undergrad degree, or they just got out of their undergrad degree and they're looking for, kind of what is that next step. And some people find that within Hope Network. They had this beautiful video at the very beginning. And there was actually a few of the people in there that were members of our team. And so the gentleman that had the little boy that was climbing up our rock wall in our Kentwood facility, he actually started as a behavior tech. And he moved into what we call an autism clinical specialist, which is somebody who's in graduate school getting shaped up to become a behavior analyst. And he actually is now a board certified behavior analyst and licensed behavior analyst within the state of Michigan, and works as a BCBA at our Kentwood facility. You also had the opportunity to see a woman working with a little girl, and she was a behavior technician at that time, but now she's our lead scheduler. And so that is the path that she took. And so, there are many different paths within the Center for Autism that people take. We have some of our intake coordinators have started as behavior technicians and really have a passion for the field, but don't want to be a behavior technician for their life. So behavior technician within our company, they meet, yes, thank you for asking that question. So a behavior technician within Hope Network, it really does follow what the BACB, which that is a bunch of letters that you might not know what that means. It's the Board of Behavior Analysis. I'm going to say it all wrong, but it's I can plug it in the chat when I stop talking. But the BACB is the board that really oversees behavior analysts, both at the master's, PhD, and then RBTs, which is Registered Behavior Technician. And so, thank you. And so our behavior technicians, they do meet all the qualifications to sit for the registered behavior technician, but we don't require it. And so within our organization, they have been trained to implement individualized treatment designed by the behavior analyst, and that looks different for each kid. And so for one kid, we might be working on practicing some picture exchange with cards to work on communication skills, or we might be working on practicing requesting or labeling different items. We might be practicing life skills. Some kids we have kids that are as young as 18 months and individuals that are as old as 21. And so for the older individuals, we're working on more life skills and how to help them have a full life and reach their full potential. So whether that be, developing social skills so they can interact with other peers, developing job skills, working on life skills like, making food for themselves, cleaning up after themselves, helping to make sure that they know how to do the hygiene skills. It's really important for individuals to learn how to care for themselves, particularly hygiene skills and those kind of self-help, so that when they do end up if they do end up having to go to other placements, they don't have to provide that more intimate care where it's a little bit more protected if they know how to care for toileting and bathing and brushing their hair, brushing their teeth. So, there's a very wide variety. My goal is always to help individual transition and work ourselves out of a job as fast as possible with providing as much support as possible. We do require at our organization that parents do engage in parent training. And so within the Center for Autism, we make an expectation of once a month that they're going to participate in parent training, but we offer it weekly. If they want to engage in it weekly, great. Their kid is likely going to make a lot more progress, and we do try and make sure that they understand what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it and kind of where we're going with it. Because sometimes what we're teaching is a building block for that next step. We often transition if we get them really early and we get them in with early intervention, we can transition them into preschool or like kindergarten and fade out of services if that is the right placement for them. If they are still struggling, we might end up with doing some afternoon or evening care or weekend care as they get older and older. It just depends on what that looks like. Within our organization, I hope I answered that question on what is a behavior tech within Center for Autism. If I didn't, please ask another clarifier. And the role of their roles and responsibility are to run the therapy session designed by the behavior analyst. So our behavior analysts provide 10 to 20% supervision of the sessions that they're running. And so they're making sure that the behavior technician is implementing with high fidelity and accuracy, and that we're seeing progress. We track data on an iPad as we go all day long, and so that we can see real time, is the child able to make progress, and are we able to fade out our prompts? So I've had that.
Maggie.
Yes.
There's another question for you about, are these inpatient or outpatient clients? Do you see it in the chat?
Yep, I see it now. So our learners at the Center for Autism, they are day patients. So they are fully outpatient. I have worked with inpatient before, and there, I believe, are other parts of Hope Network that do have inpatient care. But at the Center for Autism, it's all outpatient. Primarily, the parents call us and ask for treatment. And if they have commercial insurance, we work with their commercial insurance to work through the assessment process and writing the behavior intervention plan and the approval process. And if they are a CMH client, we also see them, but the referral comes from the sports coordinator. And so it's just a little bit different on the referral process. And then we partner with the families and their funding source, whether it's CMH or commercial. And then, so for me, I was a behavior technician and then a grad student, and I functioned similar to our autism clinical specialist. And then I became a behavior analyst. And then I moved into what we call at Hope Network an associate clinical director. And so we have 5 of those at each of our different Center for Autisms. And so they are a lead to all the behavior analysts that we have within each of our programs. And so in each program, there are many behavior analysts that oversee the client's treatment. And then those associate clinical directors roll up to me. And so that's kind of a part of our structure within Hope Network. And there's many different pathways that people can take. And it really, the world is your oyster. And I'm sure if you are interested, like if you know people or, high school students that are looking for careers, I found that I was able to find my path by working for an organization very similar to Hope Network. And it helped me figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I have many people come into our program that it's their first job out of college or first job out of high school. And, we work on helping them to find their right path, and people come and go. And from our program, I have people that have just transferred to another program because they're like, you know what, I heard this program's really cool and it's exactly what I'm working on in my master's. And they want to stay within Hope Network and they want to find that next step for themselves. And so whether it is within the Center for Autism, because we have quite a few different pathways within the Center for Autism, that's great. Or if we don't have the right pathway for their end goal, we hope to set them up so that they can switch to another program within Hope Network or take the knowledge that they've learned at Hope Network and bring it to their next organization. All right, any other questions for me?
I am not seeing any in the chat. That is excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So at this time, I'm just going to be cognizant of our time, and I'd like to open it up. So we've had, thank you, first of all, for your engagement and just fantastic questions. So I just want to open it up to everyone who's here from Hope Network, and just see if there are any questions for the broader Hope Network organization, or if anyone on our Hope Network team at this point would have anything to add for our guests. All right.
This is less a question than a statement. This is back to Eric again. But what I've appreciated hearing is not only the stuff that you do so that our educators here are a little more informed. I know that I've seen you at many different events, Holly, and spoken to you and heard about Hope Network, but to be completely honest, didn't understand the scope and the breadth of what Hope Network does. So my hope is that people participating today, like, oh wow, I didn't realize all those different areas that you touch. But additionally, what I've appreciated is each of you being able to share like the different multiple ways in which to enter as a career, but also grow and transition. So in multiple different pathways. So for people who are trying to help pass career ideas on to kids, you want to work with people, this sounds like it's a great place. You want to grow in dealing with some different types of sciences, whether it be emotional, dealing with the autism. There's a lot of different areas in which people can get involved. And just being able to hear from each of you how your career transitions have moved and still to find opportunities at Hope Network is, I think, good for our educators to be able to pass along, say, hey, just because you start a job doesn't mean you have to stay in that for forever. And there's a lot of organizations out there that allow for career growth and transition.
If I can just talk for a sec. Yeah, so, I referenced our careers website before. And so I'd encourage anybody interested in learning further about some of our particular areas, whether that's addiction recovery, autism, nursing, social work, for you to take a peek at those. And also feel free to reach out to me at any time if you need additional information or have questions on how our services or our organization can fit into any of your students' career paths or interests. Yeah. So yeah, I'm available anytime that you guys want to connect on anything. So thank you.
You want to drop your contact information in the chat?
Sure.
Great.
And Holly, would you share too that link that you just put in there
Mhm.
for those who might be following along and don't have access to the.
Sure. So I put a link. So, and we didn't talk much about this today, and that's totally fine. Michigan Education Corps, we're an AmeriCorps program. So that's the program I run, but I dropped a link to what we call our MEC Advantage. So our Michigan Education Corps Advantage. We do have a number, about 2/3 of the individuals who serve as tutors with our program as AmeriCorps members are interested in pursuing a career in education, whether it's to be a teacher, whether preschool or high school, or, or they're just interested in serving kids at some point. Maybe they want to become a pediatrician. So this opportunity, we have relationships with a lot of different colleges and universities in ways that serving with us can help them advance toward their goal of becoming an educator if they wish. So I just dropped that link in there. It's Michigan Education Corps, our website. So just www.mieducationcorps, which is CORPS.org. The Corps, the S is silent, like the Marine Corps, the Peace Corps. And so check that out for students that might be interested. A lot of benefits there. Thanks. And thanks, Whitney. And Maggie, absolutely. Oh, perfect. Great resources being dropped in the chat. Thank you. Eric, I don't know how to make these best available to people who.
Yeah, what we'll do is when we're done, I can try to see about maybe grabbing some of those links. And then if you actually have that Google Doc, you want to put some of those links in that Google Drive, we'll make sure that that's accessible as well. Any other links or resources.
All right, I'm going to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll work on that. So other questions? Yeah. Go ahead, Eric. You do that and I'll drop links.
That's right. I was going to say, we have about, I'd say 15 minutes left. I know we have a couple minutes wrap up. So I know we had two things planned, both the panel and reflection. So unfortunately, we probably don't have time for both. So what would you prefer to do? What do you think? Would you rather do the panel discussion or breakouts?
I think let's do some panel discussion. I think that's going to be best given for our attendees and knowing that some of them are multitasking, in fact. But just know there was a breakout room activity just to give you an opportunity to interact with each other and chat. But I think just some questions for our panel would be great.
That sounds great. And for those who are following along here, the way I operate, feel free to put questions in the chat, and I'm going to ask you to do that. I know we've already gotten a couple of questions, but maybe now that you've had a chance to digest it all, or have a specific question for somebody here. Otherwise, if you say, I like to just ask it, by all means, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. Just give it a go. That's fine. But I will be quiet and wait. And then if we don't hear any, I have some, and I'm sure you have some as well, Holly, but I want to try to, patience is not my virtue, but I will try to be patient and allow for you to ask your own questions. So. Oh, I heard, I think you're pretty faint, but somebody said I have a question, so feel free, go ahead and speak up.
If you can hear me, if not, I'll type it. My microphone seems to be not working well when I do that.
I'm sorry, I can't hear. Can you hear that, Holly? You might just need to get closer to your camera or to your speaker. Oh, sorry. Are you able to catch that or no? Oh, she said she'll
Angela,
type it.
she's going to type it. Cool.
Okay, fantastic. In the meantime, maybe you could go back while we're waiting just to give her a little bit of time to ask a question. I'll circle back to that one earlier I think I'd written. Maybe not the tagline, but like in your description, you mentioned the Hope Network as a Christian services organization. Seeing that you cover so many different areas, how much of that work is faith-based? Where does that come in? Is that just how it was organized and started? What does that look like, especially when we have, you're returning to work, education, different health services. So what does that look like?
Yeah, I'll start with kind of so Hope Network, our mission is in Christian service. We are going to help people become as independent as they possibly can. And so it certainly is grounded in Christian ideals. And I would say we do operate with that faith-based foundation. That said, we are an organization that is going to serve, right? So if Christian faith is the foundation, we are here to serve whoever steps up to our door and needs it. We do have a
I can't hear you. You faded too.
Sorry.
Okay,
I must have accidentally covered up my microphone. And
there we go. Got it now.
So one of the things, so we do have a pastoral pastors on staff here at Hope Network. And so they are here to support in whatever way, shape, or form both our employees as well as our consumers. So we certainly don't leave our faith at the doorstep when we enter into our offices, but by the same token, it's not something that we do not use that or restrict services based on that. That's what I'm trying to get at. And feel free to jump in, anybody else.
I was going to say, to piggyback off of Holly, the guiding principle for me since I've worked at Hope is servant leadership. So we serve those with a heart of service, but we also serve, those to empower others to serve as well. So while it is a Christian foundation, the principle, the driving force is servant leadership, which, spans the gamut of whatever you may believe.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback on Anita, that I think it's important to say that it's not like exclusionary, and you don't have to subscribe to any set of beliefs. It's really accepting people as to where they are. And we work with folks and we employ folks of all different types of religious beliefs and religious backgrounds, and I think that that's really important, that's known too, that we're not limited to one type of faith. I also think faith looks incredibly different based on any person, and I think that those of us who choose to stay doing this work, this is life work, and you can say that that's like a form of faith, but I mean, that's such a huge topic, is faith. What does that look like? But I think it really speaks to motivation and just how you view humanity and what motivates you, and that can be in all of the flavors.
There's some other great questions, Holly. I'm going to turn it back over to you for the questions, but we got like 3 or 4 questions lining up. So fantastic.
All right. So one question: the locations that are on your map all provide the services that were shared in this presentation? Short answer, no. Do you want to speak? Someone want to jump in and speak to that?
Yeah, so the locations on our map, each location offers a little bit something different, depending on what Megan was talking about with all of our different services. So, the Kalamazoo location offers neurorehabilitation. Up in Bay Haven is Megan.
Yeah, Bay Haven is behavioral health and really more of our integrated care.
Yeah. And that's up in St. Ignace. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it really just depends on the location, what type of services are offered.
Just to add, as you saw all the dots all over the map, even in Genesee County, we have a Eldon Baker campus that not only houses a 20-bed residential treatment, but it also provides outpatient, a wide variety of outpatient services. So one area could be multiple services in that particular area. So, we are literally everywhere providing services that cover a wide variety of needs.
Yeah, that's a good point, Anita. Yeah, just depending, on what you need. There is some sort of service for you within Hope Network in Michigan. So yeah, and different step downs, like facilities as to like what level of care, and yeah, just very multidisciplinary that span across all the disciplines within the social and medical field.
And I'll answer one question very quickly here. So the question of, does Michigan Education Corps offer tutoring services on an individual basis or only in partnership? So the tutoring is provided via a partnership with an organization. Typically it's schools. So we have relationships with school districts, but we also have partnerships with community organizations. And so we are able to provide services that way. And then the tutoring is provided one-on-one or small group.
Something I wanted to add, just because I know this is a really more like unique interest, but something that we do in behavioral health is we do risk assessment specifically for folks with a history of sexual offenses or violent offenses. And so typically I think you think of like forensic assessment and treatment is all occurring in a prison or in a hospital, but we specialize in that. And we really take pride in that. And we end up doing a lot of education to our partners on that because, you know, I think Mark and I get a lot of referrals for folks, and someone will say, gosh, there's this terrible person and he's so scary, or, you know, use all of these emotional words. And what we're able to do is to really assess and actually look at true risk factors and then build treatment based on that and help those people actually live successfully in the community. So it's being able to do that forensic work, but not having to do it necessarily in a prison setting.
Thank you. Eric, time for one more question?
Absolutely, go for it.
To help guide students, what kinds of credentials are needed? So I'll say for our program, none. You have to be 18 years old and be able to work legally in the United States so we can pay you. So to be an AmeriCorps interventionist. Others?
For Center for Autism, I need a high school diploma, be 18 years or older, and I need them to pass background check.
And then for all of our other positions, our direct care positions, you know, some of them are high school diploma, some of it's high school diploma preferred, no experience necessary, we train, and you learn a lot. So about yourself, and then obviously the many different jobs that we referenced. As far as other credentials needed for different roles, RN, LPN, licensed professional counselor, social work, so your bachelor's of social work, masters of social work, and then getting licensed in those. Let's see what else. Medical assistance as well. Sometimes we have medical assistance where we require a certification, sometimes not. What else?
Masters in behavior analysis.
Yep, behavior analysis.
So
Yeah, it really just depends on the field. So it could be physical therapy, speech language pathology, like registered dietitian as well. So that background too. So
one of the things that I think is valuable to our participants to hear is not, I mean, I took the, hey, graduate from high school and go to college and get the degree route. And I think what some of our younger people today say, I'm not sure that that's what I want. And what is an opportunity is to have students, young people, graduates, I should say, or people who are 18 or older saying, I want to try this out and see if this is a fit for me. What it sounds like is a great opportunity at Hope Network is an opportunity to say, I'm going to get my hands involved. I'm going to get my hands dirty, if you will, and get in there and do it and find out, is this the way to go? And then if it is, as we were hearing from like the behavioral sciences side, get in there and doing it. And now this is what I'm interested in. Now I'm going to go get my degree so I can continue my pathway. I think that's something that our counselors, for the longest time in education, was you need to, my parents did not finish or go to college, like you need to go and get a degree, which is great. Now we have kids going and getting degrees and having no idea what they're going to do with it, or getting a degree and are halfway through there and saying, this isn't what I want to do. there's no right way or wrong way, but to let kids know that there's options. And one of them is that if I don't know that that's the way I want to go, let me get in there and try. I think I'd be interested or good at this. Let me try it out for a while and see if it's a fit for me, and know that there's opportunities. I know we're just about out of time. I have one final question, and I don't know who this is for. I heard about the different types of services, and some of it was behavioral. So does that mean you have traditional counseling services as well for those? I don't know if they're considered extreme behavioral sciences, and maybe I missed it earlier, but those who just need counseling help, is that one of the services then you provide? I see a couple heads shaking, nodding yes. Anita says yes.
Absolutely. We have several outpatient clinics on the east side of the state. And I failed to mention, we also are starting to work with the Zero suicide prevention, which will do assessments and support those who may be having challenges, who have made or may have made attempts in the past, to get them assessed, to identify and understand triggers in those areas as well. So to answer your question, Eric, is yes, there is outpatient regular therapy services through either the community mental health services portion or through private insurance in some areas.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I know we're about out of time here. We could keep talking for a little bit. I appreciate all the questions that have come up and some great responses. I do need to wrap things up so I can give everybody their sketch codes. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to pull my screen back up here and put my PowerPoint back up. And if I can go ahead and share my screen, see if I pulled it up properly. And my PowerPoint is not pulling up. All right, do you see my screen again? All right, we're there. So we're at the end here. Unfortunately, this is our last PD of the year. I know everybody's schools are about wrapped up, so today was the last one. If you missed any of them, we've done, I think this is the 8th Educators in Industry, and I think we did like 10 Educator Spotlight Series, and you missed any of them, you can go back into our PD Hub. I don't know how you do it through MOEX, but you can go to our PD Hub and you can find previous ones, register for them, and view them on demand, because they are all recorded. So that's the good thing. A couple things that I have, and I'm going to put these in the chat in just a moment, but what I'm going to ask of you, I would love your feedback. Want to hear from you. For a lot of you, many of you, you're not even in the Grand Rapids or Kent County area. So it's been great to be able to find a way to meet needs for several of you who are not even people that we would typically serve. But I need to know, how does this work for you? Are you liking this? Have you found this valuable? My hope and prayer is that next year we are back to being face-to-face and we can go out and do some of these events. But for those that say that I would never be able to go to that, I've really enjoyed this. I'd love to see this continue. I would love your feedback. So I'll put that in the chat in a moment, but the link is bit.ly/EII year-end feedback 2021, bit.ly/EII Educators in Industry year-end feedback 2021. And I'd love to hear you. I need to know whether this is something that should continue or not. For today's session, as always, it's the same bit.ly/EII Educators in Industry -sketch. And the 6-digit code is 273-109, 273-109. And in just a second, again, I'll put it in the chat if you just want to copy and paste those. And finally, if you haven't checked out our website, check it out, careerreadiness.kentisd.org. And my email address, if you have any questions. If you said, hey, I'd love to get a hold of some of the people that were on the session today, I have all their email addresses. It was just a lot, so I could easily pass those along. Say, Eric, could you please put me in touch with Holly or somebody from the team? Email me at erickkelleher@kentisd.org. Or my hope is somewhere down the road to say, we would love to have them come talk to our students, talk about potential careers. That's where we really find value, is what's next with all of this. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the PowerPoint. I'm going to stop screen sharing, and I'm going to grab really quickly those links, and I'll put them in the chat. Otherwise, I want to say thank you to everybody who was on the panel today. Everybody came and shared. I will get the names messed up because I'm under pressure, but thank you to everybody so much for your time. Thank you, Holly, for helping to coordinate all of this. Thank you to our participants today joining us. There's your link. And with that, I'm going to say you can go, but I'll stick around for just a couple minutes. And again, thanks to everybody.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, great. Michelle says, I have a couple of teens that'll be passing this info on to pronto. And by the way, for those who are still on, you know, these are recorded. There's nothing saying you can't show these sessions to your students. By all means, do. Especially if you find some valuable information, pass them along. We do put this on our YouTube channel. So if you want to visit our YouTube channel, Kent ISD Career Readiness, I think is the YouTube channel. You can go ahead and find that information in all the different videos that we have. Okay. Whitney, thank you. I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
And I think sometimes there's a couple lingerers, but you're free to go.